Mono, the cursed child who became the queen. That's the topic in the first video of many to follow on Shadow of the Colossus, Eco, and of course the third chapter of Team Eco's trilogy of games, which I love so much beyond life itself. I do, guys and gals, and that is Shadow of the Colossus. And Mono's tragedy is truly heartbreaking and frustrating as hell, because her fate, while it was cursed as that idiot, that fucking monk, Lord Emon or Emon, had mentioned at the conclusion of Shadow of the Colossus, she did not have to die, but him sacrificing her, thus her death hastened the arrival of the Dark Queen, or the Queen who we see in Eco, the first game and chapter of this trilogy. The Dark Queen, or the Queen who I personally believe is Mono who metamorphed into the Dark Queen because her cursed fate had led her to becoming this queen. But before that came Wanderer, or Wander, who became the first of many horned children who had horns on their heads. But this young child was at one point the lover, or whatever he was to Mono, most likely her lover, who wanted so badly to save her alongside his beloved friend and companion Agro. But at the end of his journey, even though he knew this would happen because Dorman, the dark entity, had warned him it would be so, you cannot return a soul back to its vessel, as he warned him at the beginning of his quest, his journey. But nonetheless, he chose to proceed with his quest and journey to bring back that who he loves. She was taken from him unfairly and unjustly so. You cannot prevent a curse by murdering or sacrificing a young child. This tradition, this fucked up tradition created by man, by the same fucked up clan as Lord Emon, which Mono and Wander, or the Wanderer, belong to, which Eco and the young boy, the boy from The Last Guardian, the third chapter of this trilogy, belong to. But fate is so twisted and so cruel, and what Lord Emon had done was so wrong and only hastened the arrival of the Dark Queen in Eco, the first chapter of this trilogy. And what's up, guys and gals? It is I, once again, Mr. Gamer 990, and yeah, guys and gals, this video is the first of many to follow in a series of analysis slash discussion slash dissection series of the games of Team Eco, a trilogy of games they produced and developed, which I love so much. It began with Eco and ended with The Last Guardian, but in between, Shadow of the Colossus is a prequel to Eco, the first chapter in this trilogy, and was soon followed with The Last Guardian. And Shadow of the Colossus is so dark and so grim, just like Eco, but in a very bittersweet way, because at the end, while that idiot Lord Emon had called her, Mono, a cursed child with a cursed fate, she had brought life to the land which would later become the land in the mist, a vast and open land that hosted 16 colossi, which had stored the souls, fragments of the souls of the deity known as Dorman, who's neither male nor female, but an entity who is said to be evil and malevolent. But at the end, he did keep his promise in a way, but his soul was the one that returned to Mono, who was his vessel, which once again he warned the Wanderer in a very subtle way that you cannot return the soul back from whence it came, but he did in a way brought her back, but with a different soul, his soul, the last fragment of his soul, which in the end had brought back Dorman in the form of the Queen, the Dark Queen, the mother of Yorda from Eco. And what's so sad and so so ironic about this tragedy, the tragedy of Mono, is that just as how she was cursed and her fate was decided by these old men, these fucking old geezers who deemed her to be a cursed child, she had chosen the fate of her beloved daughter, Yorda, who she did loved, but just as those old geezers had manipulated her fate and had sacrificed her, she will do the exact same thing to Yorda those old geezers did to her, and that is so sad. But unlike those men who claim to do it out of love, out of justice, bullshit, fucking bullshit, I'm sorry guys and gals, to this day, people who try to defend these jackasses for what they did to Mono, and despite what Wanderer did, which was out of love, pure love, even though he knew the consequences, it does not justify what those men have done to this cursed child, to Mono, not one bit. But the Dark Queen did love Yorda. She loved her so much, but in a twisted way and ironic way, she chose to judge and manipulate the fate of Yorda and have her sacrificed just as she was sacrificed, until a young boy, Eco, came to her rescue to rescue his beloved Yorda, his beloved friend. At one point he was a prisoner, but at the end he came back knowing what would happen to him, just to rescue her, his beloved friend, his companion, who he held hands with throughout their journey. And that is so sweet, just as the journey of Agro and Wanderer or Wander was so sweet, as well as the boy and Trico. But I do believe at the core of Mono's tragedy, she did indeed become the Dark Queen, the queen of the castle in the mist. And you can tell by the way her face looks, Mono's face, compared to the Dark Queen's, and the fact that these two, it makes sense that they would be one in the same. And that is so sad and so frustrating, because Mono did not have to die. If she did not die, she would not have become the Dark Queen, and the Horned Children, many of them, would not need to be sacrificed and become her shadow creatures, the descendants of Wanderer, who was the first Horned Child, who was also at one point her lover. But Mono has no memory of what happened and what Wanderer and Agro had done for her in her name, to sacrifice themselves for her, to bring her back. There is one of many channels on YouTube I do recommend you guys and gals watch if you want to gain more information of Shadow of the Colossus and the other games produced by Team Eco, a trilogy of games which you can find in Nomad of Colossus, or whatever his YouTube channel is called. He provides a lot of information on Shadow of the Colossus, as his name implies, alongside The Last Guardian and Eco. So much information that are worth listening to and watching. I do recommend you check his channel out and support him. Please do. And thank you guys and gals for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe if you wish, and do check out my other channel where I talk about movies, television programs, and anime series, etc. Until next time, peace out, take care, adios amigos, au revoir, and sayonara.